Hello, I am Mal, and welcome back to Wasteland 2 Director's Cut. So we're going to continue right where we left off. We're at sort of the first mission that General Vargas sends us on, which is the radio tower. If you missed the last episode, go back and watch it. No. In all seriousness, two things. If you missed part one, I'm actually going to put a link right here to the playlist on the screen for you. And not only will that take you back to part one if you should have missed it, but also the guides that I've made for Wasteland 2. So if you're looking for a guide, chances are I have one available. Okay, so we're going to continue. We dispatched some raiders here. We went up over on this side, got some loot. We fought a toad in the cave, and we found out that Ace, the ranger that we were looking for to recover the radio repeaters, that he sort of had a gruesome fate at the hands of a synthetic, basically an android. Now, we don't know much more than that at this point, but we're going to continue on. Let's take a look at our inventory. Let's take a look at this logbook. This page is almost entirely covered in dried blood, making even the date ineligible, but one line can still be made out. Who is Matthias? Who indeed? Who indeed? Alright. Oh, we got our members only jacket on. Yeah, hey, you know what? Let's see what that looks like. Oh, it's not an actual... Oh, it's not a costume piece. Darn it. So if you get a white, quote-unquote, white item, that if it's clothing, then you can actually equip it. If it's gray like this, it's just junk to sell. But that's okay. That's fine. Alright, let's see. We're right here. Okay. Let's go take a look over here. Now, I promised in the last video that I would tell you about some secrets and stuff in this area, and I'm going to do that right now. So, if you have a high enough perception skill, back along this entrance, you come in over here, back along this like wall over here, mountain side, whatever you want to call it. If you have, I think it's a 6 perception, there's actually a secret area, like a cave or what have you, and there's some pretty nasty things, honey badgers if memory serves me correctly, that you could fight in there. Yeah, and they're not easy. Now, over here, this isn't hidden, is another cave, and in here you actually find your first little box, toaster. This is kind of a carryover from the first game. Right here, a toaster. Now, you need toaster repair skill. Like, really, Mel? What the hell is toaster repair? Well, it's you repair the toaster. These are basically treasure chests, for lack of a better term. So if you have a high enough toaster repair, you can go through and you can loot these and you can get all kinds of special items and gear and stuff. And it is absolutely worthwhile to invest in toaster repair. And I definitely will have an NPC follower, not one of my core 4 characters, but one of my followers will definitely carry toaster repair skill for me. If you're curious again about my team here of monkey rangers, and you want to know how I put them together, again, links below this video for all that good stuff. All right, let's keep going. What do we got here? Okay, so this is a shrine. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do this one here because it's here and I want to show it to you. But I don't know if you could see that, but we got +1 skill point for each squad member. That's a good thing. However, my recommendation is for shrines, you don't do those. Any of the others, and I already have 2 shrine locations on my map actually, but you don't do those and seek those out until you actually have the NPC followers in your group that you think you might carry with you for the rest of the game. Like right now, off the top of my head, I know that pretty soon I'm going to make this choice in the story between going to 2 separate locations. And the NPC that I want, I know I'm going to carry through like the entire game with me. It's part of my plan. She's actually going to end up being my sort of carry all my doctoring type skills. She's going to be the combat medic for the group. So I want that NPC to benefit from things like +1 skill point or plus stats or plus experience or what have you. But they don't if they're not in your group. So hold off on the shrines. Don't. Everybody goes off, and I've seen people say, "Wow, why don't you just go get the shrines right away?" Because I don't want to, because I want to wait and hopefully have that be a benefit to more characters. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Speaking of which, if you want to know where all the shrines are, that's a video I'm actually not going to do, but I'm going to post in the description of this video for Genesis. He's a great guy, and he put out a really good video about all the locations of the shrine. I will put that in the description, so you should check him out. Okay, let's see. Anything else in here? Nope, don't think so. We can come back for this toaster, and that'll be the plan. Once we have enough skill, we will. And we need to revisit this area anyway, because like I said, once you have a high enough perception skill, you can, you know, mess around with those honey badger fights. Yeah, they're really good for experience. Ah, okay, use perception. Something seems to be buried here. All right. I tend to put the shovel, which you pick up right away at the beginning of the game. I tend to leave that on whoever has the perception. It makes sense. They find stuff and then they can loot it. I also, generally speaking, will put my demolitions skill on the character that has perception, because you see something's trapped and then you have the same person go over. It's less of an issue in Wasteland 2, obviously, because it brings up the little applicable skills thing and brings over the character to do it. But it's still nice, convenient to have it on one character. So perception, demolitions, and your shovel, put that all on one character. That's my recommendation.
He didn't die quiet, at least. He went down fighting.
That's right, Angela. He went down fighting. I do feel bad. I do feel bad for you that Ace went down. Okay, so let's see. Right over here. In the first episode, I mentioned that there was a fence over here that you could unlock and then pass through to get to this fight. You can do that, but I don't really like the kind of choke point over here. So I prefer to come over here and approach this fight from this side. It just seems a little bit easier to me, especially if you've got a decent sniper with a decent weapon. Even an early upgrade like a R270 or something like that, you can probably one-shot. Well, definitely on normal difficulty, you can one-shot anything with even your starting sniper rifle. So, okay, I'm gonna put my shotgun guy over here. Want to try to keep my leader close so that his leadership skill provides bonuses to everyone in combat. Let's move Angela over. We'll put Eve over here. And then my skill, quote-unquote, skill monkey right here, Christy. I'm not really using her for combat much, so she's just going to hang out back here, kind of out of range. Because she's my energy weapon person, and I kind of want to, even though I have a decent energy weapon, the way energy weapons work in the game, you can see in the corner over there, I can't keep the hover up and show you, but it says Maison Cannon, and then you see that shield with like a little bolt in it. That means that the weapon really is most effective against armors that are conductive. So in other words, they have metal components to them. If you look at below, it says armor damage multipliers, conductive, 2.2 damage. All right, so over 2 times the damage if you're firing at somebody that has metal in their armor. But non-conductive armor is 0.6. So in other words, it's really kind of a bad idea to use energy weapons against people unless they have conductive armor. So you do absolutely want an energy weapon person in your group. I get asked this question a lot. Well, why even bother having an energy weapon person then, Mal? They kind of suck at the beginning of the game. First off, I agree with you. They suck at the beginning of the game. But trust me on this. There is something that you're going to get that we absolutely will get along the way, and it's a weapon you don't want to pass up on, and you need a good energy weapon person to do it. So my recommendation is you have someone in your group, in your core 4, that's dedicated to having energy weapons. Now, the flip side of that is, unless you want to waste skill points with another combat skill, which I'm not going to do, there really isn't much for them to do for you. Like, they can't really do a whole lot in combat for you, other than maybe this person has field medic and 1 insurgent, so she can patch people up, but short of that, she can't do anything else for us. Thus the reason why we're leaving her in the backfield, okay? Hopefully that made sense to you. All right, let's see. Okay, so I know that there's some guys right over here. We're gonna just kind of scooch up a little bit. I think I'm actually gonna move everyone up a little bit, and the reason being is because I want to be close enough to move to cover if I want it, but I don't want to start in cover. And the reason I don't want to start in cover is here. No, you get back here, get back there. Is because I am gonna try to just pull these guys into like an Overwatch trap, an ambush trap. So we'll see how well that works, and then I can either fall back further to outrange them with the sniper, or I can choose to push forward, and then I'll move to these different cover elements, like these barrels over here and here, or these rocks over here. Cover is pretty important, but I'm going to start the fight this time with everybody standing to sort of maximize mobility. Okay, so here is this guy, Mumbles. Okay, he's going to be our first contestant. Okay, we missed. We can see that he's a melee guy, so he's not much of a threat. Blue move indicates that's how far this character can move and still take a primary fire action with the weapon that they have equipped. I think I'm going to hold this positioning, so I am going to go ahead and crouch. It's going to cost me 2 AP, which is fine because I have 7. Yep, so I'm going to crouch. 82% chance to hit old Mumbles here. Now, if I right-click on a PC, I'm sorry, I don't know the commands for the Xbox One and PS4, forgive me. I can take a selective shot, and I could shoot him in the legs and hinder his mobility. I could shoot him in the arms. I could try to go for a headshot, and they're all going to have different effects. Like, this is 1.35% additional damage if you can get a headshot. But huge penalties to hit, right? So at the beginning here, I don't think this is much help to you. You're better off just shooting the guy. Like that. Okay, so dead guy. And let's see. I'm going to move over here to cover, and I'm going to set ambush. And I'm going to move over here, and I'm also going to set ambush. Now, here comes, oh, a feral dog. Another feral dog, all right. Okay, this is our, basically our non-combatant. She's going to hang out back there. In turn. This is a relatively easy fight on any difficulty because these are all melee combatants. Yeah, it's not that big a deal. Let's see. Let me... Since it is melee combatants, I'll just move over with my shotgun guy. Yep. And I will set ambush as well. So there's one guy back here. What do you got? You have a pistol? Yes, see that handgun symbol underneath his feet? That icon? Okay, so we'll wait for Spike Alpha. We'll wait for him to get in range, and then we'll take him out with the sniper. But in the interim... maybe shoot this guy? Sure. There we go. Dead guy. Now, combat is going to be relatively easy for me for a little while because I have, like I said, very, very strong weapons that I obtained in the first 2 or 3 hours of wandering around and doing random encounters before I actually started the story missions. So that's why I have such strong weapons. But trust me, as we carry on, especially on Supreme Jerk difficulty, it's not going to be the case. We're gonna get behind the 8 ball, so to speak, relatively quickly. All right, we'll set ambush again. For those of you familiar with games like XCOM, ambush is essentially Overwatch. And actually, the Shadowrun games have it too. Lots of games feature it. There we go. Took him out with a shotgun. All right, let's see. Nope, intern. Can I get over there and shoot that guy? Let's look at the combat log. Okay, so it's me. Then it's Spike Alpha, who is back over here. Then it's Bear, gets to go next. And then Angela. So this dog right here, feral dog, is not going to get a chance to attack anyone before Angela. So what I'm going to do to save ammo a little bit is I am just going to move back. Actually, no. You know what? I'm going to move right here like this. We'll see if Spike Alpha gets in range. I'll set ambush. Okay, now we'll go ahead and shoot Spike Alpha with the sniper. Okay, and in the turn. And now, the reason I waited is because Angela, and you'll hear me talk about this a lot, CPK, or cost per kill. It's obviously much cheaper to use a pistol or a submachine gun, something with cheap ammo, or the best thing is a melee combatant. In this case, we're using a blunt weapon. So I'll have Angela here, just smack this dog. There you go. And that doesn't cost me any ammo, and therefore free, right? Okay, nice chunk of experience. It's important to note that you do not get additional experience just for playing on a higher difficulty level. Yeah, there's actually no tangible benefit at all other than you get some increased challenge, which I want, but if it's your first time playing Wasteland 2, my suggestion is don't play on a higher difficulty. As a matter of fact, you may not even want to play on Seasoned. You may want to play on Rookie when you first play through. Logbook page, huh? Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely Ace's handwriting. I'd recognize those chicken scratches anywhere.
All right, so let's take a look at that. Did it put it in the inventory or did it put it in the logbook? Yeah, put it in the logbook. Okay, so here we go. All right, so we found a page from Ace's logbook. It mentions Snake Squeezin's cellar he fell in with on his way to the radio tower. General Vargas might want to hear about that. Okay. We found a page from Ace's logbook, but it was smeared with blood and oil that it was ineligible, or, well, I can't pronounce it. I'm tongue-tied. Basically couldn't read it. There you go. Illegible. That was close enough. Okay, so General Vargas has ordered us to search for Ace's logbook near the site where he was murdered. May have some salient information on who killed him and why. Yep, we already know that. Okay, so we need to search for the radio tower repeater units. We've got that. Look for the rest of his book. Bring Ace's star home. We can do that. And investigate the strange metal leg. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to hit the Z key. There's something to interact with right over here, which we're going to do in just a moment. I'm trying to remember if there was something else to loot over here. I think there is, actually. Is it back over here? We'll come back to the radio tower in a sec. I want to say that there was something else over here to loot. Could have swore there was. Well, I guess I could be misremembering. Alright, well, let's go over here to the tower then. Did I loot everybody? Yeah, looks like I did. Alright. Let's take a look here. Alright, now, this repeater looks like we can actually... might be able to do something with it here with the appropriate skill. So, let's do that. First, let's use perception on it. Okay, duct taped to one of the legs of the radio tower is a pre-apocalypse transistor radio. Looks like somebody had patched into the tower and set it to receive a particular frequency. But the patch wires have been severed. Someone with even the most rudimentary of tech skills could probably resplice those wires and hear that frequency. Okay. Let's repair it then. Okay, mechanical repair. Small speakers chirp a series of spasmodic beeps amidst a sea of static. So some Morse code, alright. So let's see here. Okay, let's add this repeater unit to our hotkey. So there it is, and then we click on that. And click here? Oh no. Need a person or object to use it, huh? Well, okay. Why aren't you working? No, this will come up. It's not an issue. You really can't do anything with this. The repeater units are actually not... He sends you here first and you recover them, so logic would suggest, okay, I'm gonna place a repeater unit here, but you don't. So don't worry though, they'll come into play. But that's how you would do it, just so you know, is you would put the repeater unit on your hotbar and then you would hover over onto the actual unit. I wonder why it's giving me the computer skill option and then not letting me do it. That's kind of strange. Maybe I need to activate it this way? No. Okay, well, never mind then. Let's keep going. I know, I don't know what the Morse code message is saying. I did at one point, but I don't remember. Okay, right along this area over here is where that secret cave is if you have a high enough perception skill. So when we do, we'll come back.
Ranger Team Echo, this is Ranger Command. Come in.
Citadel Base, this is Echo 1.
Got an update for me?
We do. Affirmative, we found the repeaters and the logbook, and a metal man.
What? what?
A dead robot. It looks like it killed Ace and stole the repeaters and the logbook.
Well, I'll be goddamned. We haven't seen any synthetics around for almost 15 years. We better get a closer look at the tech. Mirror Captain might be able to tell us where it came from. See if you can grab a piece of it and bring it back to Mirror Captain the next time you're at the Citadel.
Roger that.
Good, but our priority is still those repeaters. Now that you have them, I'm sending you on to complete Ace's mission, which was to attach him to the most powerful towers in Arizona, so we can get a fix on that mystery signal. One tower is at High Pool, the other is at the Ag Center. Sending you the coordinates now.
Okay, so Ag Center and High Pool. So this is where you get to make that first sort of important story choice. You know, I don't want to spoil things for people. I know there's a lot of new players now playing Wasteland 2. So if you don't want to hear this next part, well, I mean, I guess you're going to see what I'm going to end up doing, but maybe go forward like a minute in the video. I'll wait a second. Okay, so the deal is, folks, is that you're only going to be able to save one, High Pool or the Ag Center. Now, I'm going to the Ag Center because one of the NPCs that I want is named Rose, and you get her from the Ag Center. If you go to High Pool, you can get a sniper named Vulture's Cry. They're both good for the group. They obviously have different abilities, but I really want Rose, and so that dictates where I'm going, and I'm going to the Ag Center. Which one should you choose? Quite frankly, High Pool gives you more ammo and more items for less effort. High Pool is hands down a better deal with regards to that. And the Ag Center is kind of tough when you're starting off, so if it's your first time through, you might want to go the High Pool route, just because I think it's a tad easier. Okay.
High Pool is at the most southern and eastern corner of our jurisdiction. They're a vital part of the stable society we've been trying to build here in Arizona. They provide clean water to us and many other communities and farms, and maintain an emergency reservoir in case of drought. See Mayor Vikstrom there about using their tower. He knows you're coming. They built their tower on top of an old crane. A bit unorthodox, but it gets great reception. Ag Center is due south of Ranger Citadel and very important to what we're trying to achieve. The researchers there are developing hardier plants and animals that will thrive in the harsh conditions of the wastes. If it all pays off, we may see the day when nobody in Arizona goes hungry. Talk to Matt Forrestal about hooking up to their radio dish. Used to be one of us. Now he runs things down there. Matt's good people.
Interesting thing about Matt Forrestal, as well as a couple of other characters early on in the game here, they were major backers to the original Kickstarter effort. So I think it's cool that they're in the game. It's pretty neat.
Used to be part of an old satellite relay system, from what Woodson tells me. Strongest transmitter in Arizona. That is Mercaptain's fancy word for smart robots. She calls them synthetic life forms, or synths. Basically, any robot that can think for itself falls into the synth category. Plain old robots are dangerous enough. Ones that think for themselves are a nightmare.
All right, copy that.
Roger, Echo 1. Ranger Command out.
Okay, so we're progressing well here, level-wise. All right, so let's roll out here. Transformer style. Head to the waste. Okay, so now we're on the overland map. There's a couple things that you need to know if you're not familiar. This is fast. This is normal speed. We're going to set it to fast. Over here in the right-hand corner is your water. We're at 49 of 60 units. You can stop at places like this oasis, to fill up your canteens. You can also fill it up at a well inside the Ranger Citadel, so you want to make sure that you always do that. These over here are radiation symbols, and the number on it indicates the level of radiation. Now, I have already acquired... Let me see here. Where does it show it? Well, I'm not sure where the heck it shows it. I don't remember. I already have level 2 radiation suits. I purchased them, I think, in the Ranger Citadel, actually. You can get radiation suits as a quest item, and actually you kind of have to at some point to move the story along. But I already have some, so I have some protection against radiation, at least light radiation. But something to be aware of. The meter over here, the Geiger counter, obviously as this goes up, you will start taking some serious damage, so be careful where you go. Now, in terms of the world map, Ranger Citadel is here. As you can see, I've already got some shrine markers. We're not going to go to the shrines. I already told you why. We're going to wait till we have the other people in our group. We have the Ag Center and High Pool. Now, when you start off at the Ranger Citadel, the area right around the Ranger Citadel and then sort of off to the west, kind of in this area between these two mountain ranges, is sort of a safe-ish area to farm experience. You don't want to go east of the radio tower. You absolutely don't want to go to the southeast. There's nasty stuff. Basically, you drew a line halfway through this map. Anything over here to the east is bad news. Lots of radiation, lots of really tough encounters. Just stay away from it. Make your choice of whether or not you're going to go to the Ag Center or High Pool. You do that, and then immediately following that, you typically go to the Rail Nomads camp. Now, transversely, if you've picked up the 2 radiation level suits that I have, you could go to the Rail Nomad camp early and recruit some additional followers before doing Ag Center or High Pool, and I may do that. I haven't ultimately decided. But right now, we're going to head back to the Ranger Citadel. Alright, let me stop at the Oasis and fill up. This right here, by the way, is a mysterious shrine that we won't be going to. Oh, come on. There we go. There's old Aberforth, a goat, which you can bring with you. You know what? Hold on, let's use this. Refill our canteens. Just always a good idea to do that. Now, there's a couple of different vendors that you can deal with. There's a quartermaster inside the Ranger Citadel, which when you first start off, you don't have access to. Now that we've done our first successful mission, if memory serves me, we should be able to get in now, which is good. But until then, you've got this merchant outside that you can deal with. The first versions of the game, there was nobody, so it's kind of nice that there's somebody out here now. So let's go ahead and talk to this person and sell all of our junk. And while we're at it, let's see what else can we sell. Well, I don't need this. So we can get rid of that, and that, and this. Anything else we want to get rid of? No, I don't think so. And we need to put that anti-venom over there. Okay, and what does she have for sale? Let's see. Well, she's got some low-level armor. If you hover over a weapon for sale or if you pick up a weapon, you can always hover over an item and it'll compare it to your currently equipped one. So, hunting rifle versus the M24 sniper rifle. Clearly, I'm going to keep my M24 sniper rifle, right? But that's nice that it does that it pops up. Let's see. Ammo is always a big deal, so you want to keep your eyeballs out for that. I'm going to see how much would this cost us. Let's see. $182 for that. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and snag that. Total squad scrap is right here. Let's see. Do I want a scope? +3 maximum, +3 meters maximum range for $110. You know what? I will take that. And then, are there any cheap weapons? And I mean really cheap weapons? No, not really. Sometimes it's worth it to buy cheap weapons and then break them down with your weaponsmithing skill. Sometimes. So speaking of weaponsmithing, let's right-click. Why can't I? Requires 3 weaponsmithing. Okay, so I can't quite do it unless I use that skill point that I picked up from the shrine. But I think that's going to cost me 2 skill points. It is, so I'm going to have to wait until I level up. Alright, well, that's fine. Okay, so in the next one, what we're going to do is head inside. We'll talk to General Vargas. We'll kind of take a little tour of the Ranger Citadel. And then we'll head out to save the Ag Center, because that's actually where I'm going to head, because I mentioned I wanted the NPC from there. So I hope that you've enjoyed this so far, and if you have, consider hitting that thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, I am Mal, and I'll see you later.